We're on the cusp of reaching 300,000 followers tonight, and we're also on the cusp of something else, and you know what that is. $1.9 trillion is the offer from tonight from the White House. We're literally on the cusp of what that kid with the purple shirt, or in those days was a t-shirt, on in front of an empty beach first reported to you on April 25th, that the second stimulus package would likely get settled at $2 trillion. Tonight, boy, if you see something in front of you, it might be the finish line. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's incredibly great news. I really didn't even know how to start this recording tonight because I don't want to be too incredibly excited, but in the same regards, I don't want to pass something off that is categorically jaw-dropping, incredible good news tonight. Thank you for tuning in. The president has raised his offer to $1.9 trillion to counter against Nancy Pelosi's $2.2 trillion, now at a breaking point about where this channel has been reporting for upwards of 5 months. The deal would be hatched at $2 trillion. But will it? Go to the Finance channel, subscribe, in a night in which this is probably going to be singly the most important video you're going to watch today, and you've already watched about 500,000 other views of this channel in just a few hours. Absolutely a catastrophically great day for you to tune in. Thank you. I really appreciate the love. Also like this video. It started in early mornings, LALATE. It went to mornings, it went to afternoons, and out of nowhere came that $1.9 trillion offer. I'll be going over that, of course, in this video, along with the statement that apparently it's going for more stimulus checks. Okay, let's see if we're going to hold them to their language. We've been told things before, but that's what they're saying this time. Then we'll be going over why and how it got to 1.9. Third, we'll be going over the Temple Dunes' reaction to the situation. Fourth, we'll be going over Wall Street's reaction to the situation, which I've been following all day long. I've been following since pre-dawn. And finally, I know you're asking, and I know you're wondering my opinion of the situation. If I think a deal is going to be hatched at $2 trillion, I'll be covering that as well. This is a double broadcast. You have to tune in for Purple Power Ad for this one because it is categorically incredible what this family has done, and we are not over the finish line, so we need to make sure that we are. So please tune into that video right after this. Okay, the breaking news, of course, tonight is a $1.9 trillion offer from Donald Trump. In fact, the Pelosi versus Mnuchin video, which went live minutes ago on Afternoons LALATE, in a message I posted to the channel, I said, hey, you know what? This was recorded hours ago, but I'm going to change the title so you see it right in front of you. $1.9 trillion offer. It's ironic because I had told you in the last, what was it, since Friday, that they were really at about 1.85, that they weren't at 1.8 anymore. Now, they didn't confirm that, but I told you that. And how did I know that? Because on Thursday and Friday, Steve Mnuchin appeared on Squawk Box on CNBC. He said, you know what, I gave a lot more money for testing and tracing and the vaccine, so I raised the dollar amount. So he didn't say how much, but based upon the number and the calculation, it looked like it was a half billion. So it looked like it was about 1.85. Well, tonight, the president and the White House confirms they're at now 1.9. And where's that money coming from? All right, in this video, let me start with the remarks by the Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows today said that the White House has increased the offer to about 1.9 trillion. So it's about. The president is willing to give some additional money in terms of direct payments. Yes. That's the terminology for stimulus checks. Comma, he's willing to give some additional money in terms of PPP, restaurants, hotels, and small businesses. Wow. Now, I got to fully disclaim that language. Is Mark Meadows saying he's giving more than he gave in the prior offer, or he's just giving more across the board? I read it as that is a bigger offer for stimulus checks than the prior offer for stimulus checks. Let me read the sentence back to you again. The president is willing to give some additional money in terms of direct payments. Additional money, not money, but additional money. Hashtag MSC, baby. Started on Friday. You know, fix your shirt, fix your hair. I mean, geez. Multiple stimulus checks? I don't know. But maybe a more robust stimulus check? President has always said he'll do a more generous stimulus check, and he was doing a more generous stimulus checks. Let's recap where we were on Thursday and Friday. On Thursday and Friday, Steve Mnuchin was at a $1,200 stimulus check for all adults, which is higher than the Temple of Doom. She was at only a $1,200 check for non-dependents, but dependents were at a measly $500. Then for children, the president was higher also last Friday than Pelosi. He was at $1,000 for children. She was at $500. So the question is, if the president was at $1,200 for all adults and $500 for all children, then how is it higher? My guess, and this is my guess only, that perhaps he's increasing the household to a 5-person household. That has always been sort of a tipping point for the White House, that sometimes they define the number of people in the household smaller so that the stimulus is less. I don't know. Multiple stimulus checks? I don't know. Taken out for child support, likely not. Not taken out for taxes, likely not. Taken out for debt support, likely not. So that's all about the same. Now, he did not talk about FPUC, and he did not talk about hazard pay. What's interesting is the next bit. Mark Meadows, next point this evening. Mark Meadows also in that interview said that he has spoken to Mitch McConnell, and that Mitch McConnell has confirmed that if there is a deal from Nancy Pelosi and the White House, that the bill will be introduced to the Senate floor, and Mitch McConnell will call it for a vote this week. Whew. My goodness, this is just, it's, you know what, it's nighttime, but oh my God, this is incredible. Mark Meadows said that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had agreed to bring a potential bipartisan bill to the Senate floor and actually have a vote if it's reached between the president and Pelosi. Meadows' exact comment, it's even better than this. Asked about Meadows' comment, a McConnell spokesperson, Mitch McConnell spokesperson, said for the reporter to look at a statement that Mitch McConnell released over the weekend. Okay, I never saw the statement, so I don't know where this one came from. I'm really tracking everyone's press statements. I didn't see this one. But apparently there's a press statement that said, if Speaker Pelosi ever lets the House reach a bipartisan agreement with the administration, the Senate would, of course, consider it. Well, that's not exactly how Mark Meadows phrases it. Mark Meadows' statement today was that he spoke to Mitch McConnell today, and that Mitch would actually have a vote, not just consider it, just actually have a vote. This is categorically incredible. Now, what's going on for the Temple of Doom? Well, the Temple of Doom didn't give a lot of clarity today. Most of the press reports are quoting her based upon her Sunday remarks, not upon any remarks today. But the White House, the Pelosi and Mnuchin confirm that they have worked all day in their staff committees, not her and him, but her staff committees have worked on language about testing and tracing, and that they're continuing to do this. Pelosi still cites tax credit expansion, child care provisions, and the census as an issue of contention, and that the White House has removed 50% of the language for testing and tracing and needs to go back in. Okay, so at the 9-minute mark, you're sitting back and thinking, okay, so what is this? This looks like a very confusing, hot mess. Do we have a deal, LALATE? Do we not have a deal? What would the deal look like? Multiple stimulus checks, not multiple stimulus checks? When are we to get the money? How is this all going to come? Okay, stay with me because I'm going to go over all that and more right now. First, let me go over timing to receive the money because everyone needs their money right away. So I'm going to go over that with you right now. If there is a deal hatched between Pelosi and Mnuchin, then add to that 1 day for the House to, well, let me do it this way. There is a way in which it could just go to the Senate and then go back to the House. I'm going to do it the longest way. The longest way would have 1 day for the House and 1 day for the Senate. So for the day in which Pelosi and Mnuchin reach an agreement, if they do, you would add 1 day for the House to vote on it, 1 day for the Senate to vote on it, and 1 day for the President to sign it. Now, under an emergency circumstance, there's a way to get it even tighter than a 3-day window. You could possibly get in a 2-day window. Okay, so you've got that. Then, how long would it take for you to get the money? Mnuchin has always represented it would take 10 days from the day at which it becomes a law, that's the date, that's the third day, for you to receive electronic receipt of the money if you're set up for electronic payment on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, or veterans benefits, or you pay or receive your taxes or refunds from the IRS electronically. I've always said you should generally add 3 more days on top of that because some banks don't do ACH real fast. But generally, I would say 90% of U.S. banks will do an ACH. You'll receive the ACH money 24 hours after it's ACH. So, for example, this is a Monday night. If the Treasury sent out money ACH today before 5 p.m. in Washington, you would receive it in your bank account the next day in 90% of U.S. banks. That's the way it works. So 3 days for it to become law, House, Senate, President sign it, and then 10 days for you to receive it electronically. 13 days. 13 days. If you're not set up for electronic receipt, then you would add an additional week on that, 7 plus 13, about 20-something days. I know you're going to jump in the comments and say, I need the check right now. Why can't I get the check right now? There's just no way for them to get checks from Washington into your bank account when the money's not out of the Treasury overnight. They just can't. The fastest way is the way I just described to you. Now, next, what about multiple stimulus checks? How much would the stimulus checks be? How would this work? I got to tell you, what is very clear, this is not opinion, this is fact. What is very clear is that between Thursday and today, we have been told this much information from Pelosi and Mnuchin about what they're doing and what's going on. We've heard a lot about testing and tracing language. I got to tell you, now my opinion, I got to tell you, I think that's sort of subterfuge. I don't think they're going to tell you really where they are. As Mark Meadows simply comes out and says, oh, we're up $500 billion, we're up from 1.8 to 1.9, surprise. I'm like, okay, what did you get up from? Where did the money go for? What's going on? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Steve going to tell us? No, Steve's not going to tell us. Nancy going to tell us? No, no one's going to tell you. You got to guess. So there is a potential that the stimulus is more money. There's a potential that the FPUC is more money. There is a potential that something hazard pay-ish has happened. But is there a potential that hazard pay is back in here? I don't know. I mean, she's the one who took it out. Would she put something back in that she took out? Her taking out that hazard pay was a bad moment for my viewers for hazard pay. But you had those 3 hazard pay-ish provisions in there that give you grant money, EIDL, the CMC order, and the state and local grant program. So I'll be going over all those if we get a bill passed. Next, you've been wondering my opinion, and here is my opinion. My opinion is double-edged. Let me explain. There is one thing to say that Steve and Nancy have a deal. It's another thing for it to become a law. Do I think that Steve and Nancy have the potential to formulate a deal by the end of tomorrow? Yes, I do. As a viewer says me, you watch these videos, as a viewer said to me in the comments 3 days ago, and I said on air, respond to her on air, she's like, LALATE, you've been a little happy lately. Why are you so happy? You're not drunk, are you? I'm like, no, I'm not drunk. Are you high? No, I don't smoke. Why are you so happy? I said, because I sort of sense they're getting really close. And it just sort of sounds like they're playing a lot of games and that they're right on the edge. And shortly after I said that, the president of the United States confirmed much the same. He said, we basically have a deal here. No one is signing the deal. And so as I sit here tonight, all I got to say is that I have been telling you since I moved into the space of coverage of the subject matter in about June, was the deal would always be done at $2 trillion. I always said it's going to be somewhere between 1.5 to 2, that 2 would be the max, and it will be done at 2. So tonight, do I really think that Nancy Pelosi is going to go and close her door at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening and say, thank you for your $2 trillion offer, if he comes up to 2. I wanted 2.2, and that's not going to cut it. I can't even say it with a straight face. I think it's totally wacko. Now, we all know who we're dealing with. But remember Wolf Blitzer when he said 1.8 is so incredibly great. Why are you rejecting 1.8? Okay, at this point, we could potentially be at 2. And is she going to do that again? I don't think so. I think it's a bluff. I really do. Now, that's that. But then there's a twist. And I'm a pessimist in some regards when certain things are in front of me. And here I'm going to be pessimistic. I think there's a potential, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying it's a fact. I think there's a potential that Mnuchin and Pelosi will formulate a deal, but the president will say, I'll formulate the deal if America reelects me. I got to tell you, we're 14 days from the election. The president's behind in the polls. The stimulus package he gets to formulate will take 3 days to vote, and it'll take 10 days to receive the money. People generally won't receive the stimulus money in their hands. Most people won't receive a penny from the stimulus in their hands by the time they vote or have already voted. So what does it help him? And will he say, hey, vote for me, I'll pass this. Don't vote for me, then Joe Biden's going to leave you with a stimulus package. You're going to have to wait till March of next year. Because these people, these GOP, are not going to give Joe Biden anything because they don't like Joe Biden. I got to tell you, it's an interesting predicament that Joe Biden's in, because if Trump doesn't do a deal, Joe Biden's set up for not having stimulus for you till March of next year, February next year. So it's a strange choice that Trump can play as to saying when or how he's giving you the stimulus. Now, understand, I'm not saying that he would hold back on your stimulus, but he in his back of his mind certainly must think, I don't want to give stimulus to Joe Biden's administration if I lose. I've been working on this darn stimulus package for months, and I'm voted out, and I'm giving a stimulus package to the next guy? What the hell's with that? I want to use the stimulus for myself. If you don't want to elect me, then, do your own stimulus package. That's a very big possibility, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's fact, it's my opinion. Boy, stay tuned for Purple Power right after this, and then join me on Early Mornings LALATE, because this is just, oh my goodness. Maryland, these are comments again from 24 hours ago when we were at 1.85. Maryland, protect your people, Mr. President. Purple Power, please don't let us down. Executive orders. Allison, someone do something. Patricia, Jerome makes sense to me. She's referring to Jerome Powell. People can't spend money if they have nothing to spend on. Dan Nelson, this country's headed for a breakdown. Randolph, President Trump only has till tomorrow to save our stimulus by executive order. Not true. WR, we have over 220,000 deaths from the virus. Fry Guy, I just hope they make up their minds and send out the checks. Patricia, America not wait till next March. Melinda, can anyone get Nancy Pelosi out of negotiations? Corby, Mitch McConnell need to keep his hands off the $800 check. Memma just wrote the president again. Brian, Nancy, if you don't do your job, you will be placed by someone who can. One thing I wanted to add is, I forgot, was Trump's opinion of the situation. Trump's opinion of the situation, which he has said publicly over the last 3 days, Larry Kudlow said on Friday, Mark Meadows said it today, is that this is Trump talking, that if I go up higher on my stimulus offer, Nancy's still going to reject it. Well, he could be playing a bluff as well. Trump might, because he actually said, Trump, in the interview last night, that, this is his wordings, even if I gave her all the money for the blue states where they're badly run Democratic governors, she's still not going to accept my offer because she doesn't want to give me a deal before the election. That's very possible, and he may be calling her bluff by going right up to her number and saying, here's your money for your Democratic governors. Now what? Are you still not going to sign on the dotted line? I'm going to tell America you didn't want to sign it when I gave you exactly what you wanted. That may also be a possibility. You got to tune in for Purple Power, baby, because this one is just heating up more than a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Go to the front channel, subscribe, because there's a lot of developments and a lot of twists and a lot of turns. Also, like this video. As always, Purple Power's up next. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay in LA for more.